Hello, friends. Welcome back. It's Tuesday here. Don't know if it's Tuesday where you are, but we're rocking and rolling. And today I did my magic hour of editing. I did it for an hour this morning, which was hard for me to actually sit down and focus, but I got around to doing it. And I mentioned this before, I'm going to say it again. Editing is a constant reminder for me that you cannot wait until you know what's going to happen until you to edit. You can't wait until you have like the perfect idea of what the edit's going to be like until you sit down and do the edit. You have to just start editing it. You have to like dig in and do the thing. And so I was kind of dreading it before this morning because I was like, it's not kind of like how I want it to be. I don't know how I'm going to tell this story, et cetera, et cetera. But I was like, you know what? I have to because I've signed up for a feedback call with my mentor on Monday. So another thing to support why signing up for accountability and coaching and mentorship is so important. Because otherwise, if you were like me, you'd probably just push it off over and over and over again. But because I signed up for this feedback call on Monday, I'm like, I actually need to get it done. I need to do the work. So sat down this morning and I started going through the edit. And initially I was like, but then as I just like got into doing the work, I was like, oh, actually, well, maybe I could do it this way. Or maybe I can transition the audio from here to here. And that's like a perfect, like a better smooth transition. And I just like got into the flow. And there's no way I would have known how at the end of the hour the edit finished at the beginning of the hour, because it actually kind of gave me something completely different than what I was anticipating. And I kind of like it. I'm like starting to see where the story can unfold in a way that I wouldn't have thought of. And so I finished the hour and I was excited and I wanted to do more, but I'm also a currently working girl. And so I needed to sit down and actually do my work. And I was just like, man, the amount of things that I just hold off on not doing because I don't know how to do the thing. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get the outcome that I want. This goal that I have of like $1 million agency. It's like, I'm starting to do the work. I'm starting to do the outreach. I'm starting to connect with people and stuff like that. But for sure, there's part of me like that is holding back because I'm like, well, I don't really know what the perfect offer is, or I don't know who the perfect clients are, or I don't know like all of these things. And I'm just like, you won't know until you just go and do the work, until I start doing outreach, until I have conversations with people, until I see how they respond, until I see how they don't respond. And I think that sometimes is hard because there's no level of certainty that you can have. The only certainty that you can have is the certainty that it's not going to work out if you just don't do the thing, But because we crave so much like certainty on things to feel safe, we don't go and pursue the things that we want to pursue. And I'm just like reminded of that over and over and over again, especially, as I start transitioning out of my current work role, is I want to go for it. I want to like make the visions that I have in my head go for it. I want to put the foot on the metal. No, the foot on the gas pedal. Pedal to the metal. There we go. I want to put my pedal to the metal and just go. And this need for knowing how to do things to get the outcome I want is really holding me back. But the only way I'll know it is when I just do the thing. Yeah, no, guys. And like I'll have these windows of like, oh my goodness, what would be possible? Of like, man, there's so much possible in life that I could create if I just put the work in and just trusted that the steps I'm going to take today are the steps I need to take today, and I'm going to execute to my fullest potential. That when I finish the day, I'm proud of the amount of execution and implementation I did. And tomorrow is a new day. And tomorrow there might be another plan. Tomorrow I might see a better way of approaching things. And that's who I want to be. I want to be somebody who trusts the process, pivots when needs to be, and is just like, let's just start doing the work and the path will reveal itself. You know, I actually think that there's a quote, and maybe it's a Rumi quote. Let's see. Rumi quote, path. I love Rumi's quotes. Yeah, you know, there's this really incredible quote from Rumi that says, as you start walking no, sorry, I'm butchering this quote. It says, as you start to walk on the way appears. Oh, that's so good. As you start to walk the way appears. And so it's, you know, I could have this idea of what it's going to take, but that idea versus what it's actually going to take is going to be probably completely different. Which is why if you ask for a playbook from, you know, successful entrepreneurs about how they built their business, there's a solid chance that playbook's not going to work for you, because there's no exact thing that's going to guarantee that you're going to get the results you want. The only thing that's going to guarantee it is if you consistently put the work in, if you consistently just walk on the path and trust that that path will continue to reveal itself. And, oh, guys, we have so much potential in our lives. We as humans, we as, you know, people who have big dreams, big goals, have so much we could create if we were able to coexist with uncertainty. I don't think it's realistic to say, you know, we should be certain. I don't think, or, you know, I'm going to wait until I can just, or I don't think it's realistic to say, you know, just always execute, because that's not, at least for me, realistic. I feel a lot. I have a lot of concerns. I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of fears. But if I can have that and then also at the same time exist and live in this space of, okay, I have all of that, and I'm going to take these steps today, and I'm going to take these paths, because that is probably going to lend itself more clarity at the end of those actions than me just sitting here spinning my wheels, waiting to feel certain that if I reach out to 100 people, you know, 10 people are going to respond, and then one person's going to want my services. You know, I don't know that, and I won't know that. And the only way I'll know that is when I've done 100 outreaches, and I'll know how many people have responded, as an example. Or the only way I'll know what content works is if I start creating content. It's this endless obsession I have with knowing, I think, is ruining my life. And if I were to like speak a bit more candidly, I think this also has ruined a lot of romantic potential for me because I wanted to know the outcome. I wanted to know, like, do they like me? Are they going to be around for an extended period? And I have a lot of anxious attachment, and so I would need and desire a lot of certainty. And I think, some of that's fine. Some of it's okay to want your partner to give you some reassurance. But I do think at the end of the day, you don't know. They may say that they love you now, and a week from now, something might be different. A month from now, something might be different. A year from now, something might be different. And you have no way of knowing. And so to want somebody to say something for me right now to reassure me and to make me feel certain that I'm not going to be heartbroken, I don't think is wrong. And I would want a certain level of reassurance from my partner, right? For sure. But I also know that there's space and opportunity for me to develop more trust that whatever is meant to be will be. And this there's nobody could guarantee an outcome for me. And so I remember specifically actually in the last dating relationship I had thinking, Dominique, you want him to give you all these, platitudes and reassurances and everything, but at the same time, he may say that truly in the moment, but that doesn't mean a month from now he won't feel differently, and I can't blame him and fault him if he thinks differently. Like, life happens. We're humans. Change happens. So it's like, Dominic, you're wanting a guarantee for something that no one can give you. He can't give you that. He can tell you how he feels right now, but he can't tell you how he's going to feel in the future. And so if I want that, it's a futile pursuit. Um, and I think this is where a lot of heartbreak comes as well, because I think we expect things to not change, right? It's like, well, they say they loved me a week ago, or they say they loved me, they told me they loved me. We said we were going to spend an entire life together, and now they're like, no. And of course it's heartbreaking. Of course it's sad. Of course. But can we fault another human being for when life changes? No. I personally don't think we can. And is it sad? Is it heartbreaking? Yes. Yes, it is. But I think there would be potentially a lot more acceptance and peace if we could also acknowledge that there's no guarantees in life. And it's heartbreaking that I, for example, thought I was going to spend my entire life with a human. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, they changed their mind. That's heartbreaking. But I think we layer on additional heartbreak and pain when that makes us question everything that they said to us. Every loving thing that they said, every, because it's like, they probably did, honestly, in that moment, mean that. And so who am I to say that you never meant that, it was just a lie? Probably not. They probably did love me at that point, or they probably did care for me at that point. And that doesn't negate the fact that they've also changed their mind. I think it's a hard thing to accept, but I think it brings a lot of peace when we can accept that. And I think it's a practice. It's a hard practice. Or it can. I don't want to say it. It can be a hard practice to just be like, I, in this moment, am trusting that what I'm doing or what I'm saying or whoever's saying it to me is what's meant for this moment. And the path will reveal itself, both in good and bad, right? I think that's the thing, is like, there's always two sides to this coin. As good times can't stay for forever, bad times can't stay for forever. And I would like to be someone who can be more at peace with the discovery of the path, the discovery of the good and the bad, or the in between. And so I think, getting back to this initial start of why I made this video is trust the path, but get yourself on the path, walking the path. Walk the path. Let's go. And then the path will start revealing itself. The path can't reveal itself if you're not on the path. So I'm excited. I have probably about 2.5 minutes of an edit. I'm probably gonna, now that I'm kind of excited about it, I'm gonna sit back down tonight and do more editing for the next section. And this film is going to reveal itself the only way it can, by doing the work. So that's me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, whether it's Tuesday or not. And let's walk the path together. Bye.